listening to A State at the Union, estate planning made simple. Here's your host, Brad Wiewel, from Texas Trust Law in Austin, Texas.
Hi everyone, my name's Zach Wiewel. I'm an attorney at Texas Trust Law. I'm joined today with Carter Smith, a board member on the Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation. Carter, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, good morning. Delighted to be with you.
Yeah. Well, I grew up as a Boy Scout, so I've had many experiences all around the Texas state parks. But can you tell me a little bit about what you do, your background, and your history?
Yeah, well, first, I love hearing about anybody that enjoys the outdoors. So we've got an immediate shared interest there. I'm, kind of a bit of a bird of rare plumage, and that am a native Austinite. And those seem to be a little. Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. So we seem to be anomalies.
Yeah. Where'd you go to high school?
St. Stephen's.
Oh, great. St. Michael's.
Oh, you did. Okay. Yeah. So
cool.
we probably played each other in sports, maybe with a little age gap.
Well, we probably lost you in sports too. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. St. Stephen's was known more for its academics than its athletics. But and so originally from Austin in the Central Texas area, and then moved back a number of years ago to really start work for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department as their executive director, and served in that capacity for about 15 years. And that's when I started to work very closely, really on a daily basis with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation. I retired from that job to run a series of family businesses that are largely in the agricultural and oil and gas and real estate related spaces, and now have the privilege of serving on the board of the Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation. So that's kind of come full circle, and it helps to nurture my great love for the outdoors and natural resources and kind of all things Texas outdoor heritage.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. So because most people interact with the Texas outdoor system through the state parks.
Sure.
But tell me a little bit more about Texas Park and Wildlife. Like, what other programs do y'all have, or things that y'all do?
Well, it's a really interesting creation. I'd say that the Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation was created about 30 years ago, and it was designed to be really the official partner of the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. And what a unique creature that is in state government. Almost singularly unique. You have private supporting foundations in the university-related world, but not really in state government. So it was a very prescient, far-sighted approach for a separate organization, 501c3. It's got its own board, but it's wholly aligned with supporting the projects and programs and partners of the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, which of course touches every corner of our state. And so the Parks and Wildlife Foundation, in turn, helps to support projects of the department and its partners. Very collaborative, partner-driven, very pragmatic in terms of focusing on projects to protect lands and waters and fish and wildlife, places that define our state that are so important to all Texans wherever you are. And it's a very science-driven organization, and so that's at the root of it. And so, when people are thinking about supporting the work of the department and the foundation, they can be assured that their dollars are going to where they think they are. It's a very efficient organization, and it produces meaningful outcomes for the outdoors, our natural heritage, the stewardship of our fish and wildlife, and all the special things that make our home ground so unique and special to all of us as Texans.
Yeah, in my research for this podcast, I was looking on the website, and it's like something like 90% of that goes directly to support y'all's mission, which if the audience knows, that's a pretty good ratio for nonprofits.
It is, yeah, and I'm so glad you brought that up, and that's really important to me as a board member, and really all of the board members, is making sure that the organization is lean, it's efficient, that all of the philanthropic dollars, big and small, whatever the amount, are going to where the donors expect them to go, and that we organizationally are stewarding those dollars in a good fiduciary type way to make sure, again, they're going back into programs to, protect wildlife habitat, create and expand new state parks or wildlife management areas, investing in important resources for, our Texas game wardens that do so much for conservation, law enforcement, and emergency response. But these dollars are going to where people want them to go. They're well stewarded, and we run a very lean and efficient organization. And I'm really proud of the foundation for that.
Well, it's because you were with them for about 15 years, actually working on the inside, not as a board member. What was your favorite project that you worked on with them?
Well, there were a bunch of them.
I'm sure.
There were a bunch of them. But maybe if I had to highlight one, it's a great question, Zach. I'd say the Powderhorn Ranch.
Yeah.
So this is a really unique property adjacent to Port O'Connor. A little over 17,000 acres. Some of the last relic, best native coastal prairie left in the state, and it had been the target for conservation or protection by Parks and Wildlife, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Nature Conservancy, groups like that for really 30 or 40 years. I mean, it's been identified as one of those areas, incredibly high biodiversity, whooping crane habitat, 10 miles of frontage on Matagorda Bay, these beautiful, sprawling live oak forests like you see in Rockport that the songbirds depend on when they migrate across the Gulf, these amazing wetlands. And so we had a chance to work with the Parks and Wildlife Foundation along with the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, the Nature Conservancy, and the Conservation Fund, and the landowner and a bunch of private donors to put together a project to acquire that ranch after decades of working on it. And so it was really exciting to see that come to fruition through, again, this partner-driven, science-based way in which public dollars were leveraged with private dollars to protect this incredibly unique, irreplaceable piece of Texas coastal habitat. And then today, it's a functioning wildlife management area, and then part of it is going to be developed as a state park. And so I have to say that was a very, very fulfilling project, and that, in my mind, kind of epitomizes the work of the Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to bring all of those partners and resources together to do something bigger than what the department could ever do by itself.
Well, I think y'all are in such a unique position because the listeners probably don't know this, but there's not actually that much federal land in Texas. Part of when we came to the union was we didn't want much federal land at all.
Right. Yeah.
So we rely a lot on the state government and then private citizens to help with conservation.
Very well said. We typically think of the public-private composition of land holdings in the state as being about 95% privately owned, so with about 5% public ownership, and a small fraction of that are national forests or national parks. Obviously we're very proud of the state park system. Very proud of the state wildlife management area system as well. But we rely so heavily on voluntary cooperation from private landowners to steward, fish and wildlife, natural resources, water, provide outdoor recreation. And so a big part of what the foundation also does with the department is help to support programs that will incentivize private landowners to help voluntarily manage habitat on their property.
And that's one thing I wanted to ask you about, because a lot of our clients might have heard of this or might have even done one, is conservation easements.
Sure, yeah.
Well, you mind talking a little bit about kind of how those work and how you might have seen those in practice?
Yeah, great question, Zach. So, a conservation easement is a legal agreement between a landowner and a qualified conservation organization like a land trust or the Parks and Wildlife Foundation, in which the landowner agrees to limit or restrict future uses of the property, like development, in order to protect the conservation values in perpetuity. It's a big decision. Forever. So it's a long time. As you know well. But it's a wonderful tool for families that are thinking about intergenerational transfers of land, how to manage, the tax liabilities associated with owning land. There are charitable benefits that accrue to the donation of an easement, which can be very attractive to families. But at the end of the day, what we see most, Zach, is that the families that put conservation easements on their ranches, they do it because they care about the future of the land. And they want to see it preserved forever. And so it's an incredible gift to really all of Texas when you think about that open space, the clean air, the clean water, the fish and wildlife that exist on those lands that come about through the protection of the easements. And so, you know, for your listeners out there that own land and are thinking about the future and thinking about ways to see it conserved and are interested in exploring, you know, charitable benefits and estate tax related benefits, there's a really interesting nexus there that can help achieve a lot of different goals through that tool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a neat deal.
So we have a lot of clients located in Central Texas, and this is something that's been in our news lately. Do you know much about the Enchanted Rock expansion?
Yes, yeah, and in fact, you know, the Parks and Wildlife Foundation, you know, played a critical role. You know, since, you know, just backing up a second, you know, I think since the foundation's inception, you know, it's helped to protect or conserve, you know, well over 200,000 acres of habitat, and dozens of our state parks and wildlife management areas would not have happened but for the assistance of the foundation. And the recent expansion of Enchanted Rock was one of those. And so, you know, it came about with the citizen passage of the Centennial Fund and the legislative passage of that bill to create those funds to invest in expanding and developing new parks. And so the foundation, because it's more nimble, can frequently go in, engage with landowners that have an interest potentially in selling land to Parks and Wildlife to either create or expand a new state park. And so in this case, the foundation was able to go in, work with those landowners, work with the department to put together deals to acquire those tracts of land and then bolt those on to what is unquestionably one of the most popular, busy parks in Central Texas, if not the state. So yeah, a really exciting development for all Texans and you know, generations to come.
Yeah. In terms of y'all's goals and priorities kind of going forward, Texas is not getting any smaller. We're growing.
Yeah.
And the more people that come here, the less land we have for nature, for conservation, for anything like that.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, kind of what are y'all's goals and priorities this next year, these next couple of years?
Yeah, great question. And you know, we think of Texas as being big, wild, and open. But, you know, the reality is, you know, we lead the nation in the amount of farm and ranch land lost to development every year. I mean, we're a rapidly growing, you know, urbanizing state and have been for a long time. And so that comes with some sacrifices, as you said. You know, Texans, in my view and experience, are also very stewardship minded. They really care about the outdoors and our natural heritage. So, you know, helping to conserve and preserve places and species that are part of who we are as Texans and Texas, you know, I think resonates with most of us, whether we were born here or we got here as soon as we could.
Right.
And so the foundation helps to really touch every corner of our state in some, you know, form or fashion. And so, you know, whether we're working on restoring bighorn sheep to mountain ranges of West Texas that haven't seen sheep in 100 years, or restoring oyster reefs on the Texas coast, or launching a new project to help invest in protecting imperiled prairies and the pollinators, which are so important to the ecology of our state. We're going to open up a new state park west of Fort Worth called Palo Pinto Mountain State Park.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
And just helped acquire a new wildlife management area in East Texas, the first one over there in 20 years, that protected 11 miles along the Trinity River, these beautiful bottomland hardwoods. The Parks and Wildlife Foundation is really working on helping to ensure these lands and waters and fish and wildlife that we hold so dear, you know, are going to continue for our kids and their kids after that. And I, you know, I'd be remiss too, though, Zach, just during the time which has been, you know, I think really so somber for so many of us with the floods in Central Texas. And, you know, such an important role of the foundation has been to support the work of our Texas game wardens, the department. And so, you know, we have a Gear Up for Game Wardens program, in which the foundation.
Well, I saw that you helped expand the new facility that they have in Hamilton.
Yeah, in Hamilton, yes. Yeah, that game warden training facility, which is a world class, probably the finest of its kind. And again, but for the generosity of donors and the support of that work, we wouldn't have that kind of a training facility for these law enforcement officers that do so much for our, you know, conservation of our natural resources, our public safety, our emergency response, and the Gear Up for Game Wardens program helps to provide critical tools and equipment to achieve that. So whether it's night vision goggles to help catch the poachers that are illegally taking our fish and game, or swiftwater rescue boats like what were used along the Guadalupe River to help rescue people in the aftermath of those horrific floods. Our game wardens are on the front lines of all of that, and the foundation plays such a proud role of helping to invest in these equipment to help make sure they're equipped to do that really important job for Texas and all Texans.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Now, one of our clients, one of their children was a game warden. I learned a little bit about it because I grew up in Austin. I've never owned a gun myself. I'm not against it, but it's just I never experienced that firsthand until I met this client, and it was just wonderful, just kind of learning about all the ways that the Sun's literally actively involved protecting Texas lands.
Yes,
it's just such a cool, unique job.
Yeah.
That, it's the unseen heroes a lot of time too.
What a perfect characterization! I couldn't say it any better.
Yeah.
They sacrifice so much and are on the front lines. They're the first ones to come and the last ones to leave. They work in some of the most rural, challenging terrains and environments that there are. And you can always count on them.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, I didn't tell you about this question ahead of time, but I have an ask for you. You spent some time in Lubbock.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It's in fact spent 2 years up there in college and really came to love that part of the world, which may surprise some people, but you can't judge a book by its cover.
That is true.
As they say.
Yeah, I spent a year up there. My first year of law school was at Tech.
Nice. Yeah. What a great law school. Yeah.
It was a great time. I did. Yeah. Funny enough, I did actually really enjoy Lubbock.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. I had everything I needed. It was a great place. But the prairie dog farm they have there, can we make that into a state park?
Well, I agree with you that the prairie dogs play a critically important role, and it's funny, you talk about kind of unsung heroes. The prairie dogs play such a role in help with nutrient cycling and maintaining the health of the grasslands and supporting a whole ecosystem that's built around these prairie dog towns, and whether it's burrowing owls or foxes or raptors that feed on the prairie dogs, the pronghorn antelope that are around it, swift fox, are all these cool critters.
They're kind of the foundation of a huge ecosystem.
Yeah, they're the linchpin, and so when you help to share that and see that, maybe it helps people appreciate prairie dogs in a little different light.
Yeah. I love a good prairie dog.
Yeah.
Great place to take your family when
yeah. Aren't they fun when they pop up out of the hole? The kids just love that. Yeah.
I recently went to Inks Lake State Park, just on a camping trip, which is, for those that don't know, it's very close to Austin. It's a wonderful state park. And I don't remember the actual name of the program. I think it was the Dark Skies.
Dark Skies, yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Great question. It's, what do we love in the outdoors? We love feelings of solitude. We love feelings of connection with nature. We want to feel like we're away from our, city or town roots and get out in the outdoors. And the Dark Sky program was started to help with trying to alleviate or attenuate light pollution, and pollution in quotes, and really so that people could look up and see those beautiful constellations. They could see the stars. Think about the difference of looking for the Milky Way. If you and I were to go out tonight and stand on Congress Avenue and try to find, the Big Dipper or the Milky Way.
It'd be tough to do that.
Yeah, versus Inks Lake.
Yeah.
And so the Dark Skies program sets in place a series of kind of voluntary lighting related standards in which communities and in the department's cases, State Park, implement to make sure that those lights are pointed downward, they're shielded, they're not up at the sky, you don't have a lot of light percolation, and then people can look up and enjoy, the beauty of the galaxy above them. And so it's become real popular, and honestly, there's a lot of tourism that's generated around it. So think about the whole eclipse related deal.
How could we forget?
How could we forget? If you were in one of those 5 or 6 counties in Central Texas that was about to be overrun with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of tourists.
My buddy worked at a Chick-fil-A out in Marble Falls, one of those out there. He's like, oh man, we're gearing up. We're having people from out of town come to work that day because it's going to be horrible.
Yeah. And so the Dark Skies program helps to give opportunity for people to enjoy that part of it. And it's fun at a place like Kings Lake State Park, having a park ranger interpret the night sky, for not just kids, adults too.
I was loving everything. They brought their telescopes and this massive thing. It was cool.
Yeah, cool. That's fun. Yeah. Well, and I love that. And I think that's a great highlight about so many of these programs that the foundation helps to support through the department and its programs are accessible to people. They're accessible to families. It's like a Dark Skies presentation at the state park, or trails or paddling trails, interpretive programs. We've got these great projects that we're doing at the Texas Freshwater Fisheries Center, in which the foundation helped to renovate that entire facility, in which tens of thousands of kids go through to learn about aquatic habitats and fisheries and fishing and the management of all of our lakes. And we're going to embark on one at Sea Center on the coast, which is very similar. But it allows people to kind of touch places, see places, learn about it, involve the families, and so it's really, again, rewarding for the foundation to invest in those projects in which are so accessible to all Texans of all ages, all backgrounds, et cetera. And it's a really fulfilling thing to do.
Yeah. One question for you. What's a project that y'all are working on right now that you're really excited about?
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of them.
I'm sure.
And so I could probably, go on like an artesian well which I want. But I guess I would say the opening of the Palo Pinto Mountain State Park west of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Again, but for the work of the Parks and Wildlife Foundation and its supporters, the Nature Conservancy and others, this wouldn't be coming to fruition. And it's a long, complicated story that I won't go into for how we got here. But what we will be seeing soon in the next year is, Texas' newest state park in these beautiful, big-shouldered limestone hills with, crystal clear creek running through it, a big spring-fed lake, and a place that's just, an hour west of Fort Worth, right off I-20, where people can go to enjoy this beautiful part of Texas that, candidly, most people don't.
Well, it's not on I-35.
It's not on I-35, or it's not on I-10.
Yeah.
But it's still proximate to
sure.
the Metroplex or Austin, and whether you want to camp out or kayak or fish or enjoy the night sky, or bring your horse up there for a trail ride, there's something for every Texan to enjoy. And the foundation provided such an important role with helping to bring private dollars to leverage public dollars and to manage the construction of a lot of the parts of the state park to help bring it online sooner. And so, as we think about the gifts to Texas, if we think about the gifts to Texans that are going to endure long after we're gone, it's hard to match a new state park.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of legacy that the Parks and Wildlife Foundation is involved in.
Is it open yet, or when does it plan to open?
No, it's planned to open, I believe, in January of 2026. So
oh,
we've
that's
got
great.
a few months.
Soon. Yeah, that's really soon.
Yeah.
That's
so
fantastic.
it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's cool.
Yeah. So for folks who, everyone's probably generally aware of y'all, the foundation, and what y'all do. But for folks that are just kind of looking to get involved, maybe not a lot, but a little bit, what's a good resource for them? Is there like a club they can join or programs they can start with?
Yeah, great question, Zach. So, first I'd encourage everybody to go to our website. It's an easy place to learn about the Parks and Wildlife Foundation.
What is that website, by the way?
So, www.texasparks and wildlife foundation, TPWF.
We'll post it in the link.
Yeah,
we'll post it in
there
the
you
link.
go. So go to that website, learn about the foundation, its programs, opportunities to donate and give, whether it's on an annual basis, maybe there's a major gift, maybe there's a planned gift, maybe it's appreciated stock, IRA, whatever. There's an opportunity there. And then also, we can point you to volunteer programs with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department that they're looking actively for volunteers to help with all of their myriad programs and projects around the state. But we encourage everybody to visit the website. A great way to learn about the foundation.
Yeah, and just in terms about for the audience, what he just talked about was planned giving and all that stuff. There's a lot of different options that people can do to donate money to you guys. A really quick, easy one is just, you have your retirement accounts and you have your designated beneficiaries. The most tax efficient thing you can do is just to carve out a percentage of that and just have it go straight to the foundation. It's so quick, it's so easy. You don't need to change your trust or make an amendment. You just do it online or have your financial advisor help them with that. It's very, very easy to do.
Yeah, well said. Well said. And we have a lot of folks that do that, and you're right. It is seamless. It's easy, very transparent, and it goes right to where the donor wants it to go. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. And then in terms of other planning techniques for some of the folks listening to this, there's a lot of different things people can do. Like one is maybe not a conservation easement because that keeps it private, but you can also donate land because a lot of our clients, they have valuable land that's risen a lot in value, and they might not want to pay capital gains tax on that. And so there's certain charitable trust structures you can set up to give money or property or land to a charity.
Yes.
Save on capital gains and feel like you're really making a huge impact on that.
Yeah, well said, well said.
Yeah.
Lots of ways to donate and give, and we like to meet you wherever you're at.
Yeah.
And we've got a terrific team, Amy Allen here in Austin, others in our offices in Austin and Dallas and elsewhere that are available to help any prospective donor explore ways to give. And as you mentioned, the ways to give are really almost limitless. And so whatever fits your kind of tax advantage related status or strategy, we can help you achieve that.
For sure. All right, well, we're coming to the end of this podcast, but I do have a quick lightning round for you. Just first thing that comes to your mind. It's going to be great. I'll make them easy, though.
Yeah.
What's the most recent park you went to?
Oh, gosh, Bastrop.
Bastrop? Okay, that's the
Well, National Park was Glacier National Park.
Okay,
I should say. A little outside of our purview, but
yeah. We got Bastrop. Yeah, that's great. Favorite bird? Texas bird?
Oh, gosh, reddish egret.
What is that?
Reddish egret? You don't know what? Oh, shame on you. Well, I'm gonna take you down to the Laguna Madre, and we're gonna watch it. It's a wading bird that hunts for fish right along the shoreline, and it's a super cool bird. So you'll have to look up on that. But I got a lot of second favorite ones too.
I'm sure. And last question for you: favorite animal?
Oh gosh, favorite animal. I think the ocelot is my favorite.
That's another one that you're going to have to tell me about.
Yeah,
what is that?
Yeah, well, an ocelot is this super rare cat that is really found largely in Central America and Mexico, but its northern terminus of its range is in deep South Texas. And a quick aside, when I was 8 years old, my grandmother gave me a subscription to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation.
Yeah.
And there was an article about the work to save the ocelots in South Texas. And I kind of credit that article to spawning my interest in conservation and wildlife and natural resources. So I've kind of been forever smitten with that creature that is found in the brush country of deep South Texas, and it's wild and elusive and rare and awfully special, and a lot of efforts have been made to help conserve it and protect it for future generations.
That's
so,
great.
Yeah.
That's great. Mine was an armadillo, so you got a much better story to yours.
Oh, I like armadillos too, Zach. I never met a critter I didn't like.
That's good. All right. Well, Carter, thank you so much for coming on this podcast today. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Again, Carter Smith with Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation. We'll post their information in the bio. Thanks for watching.